She arrived at the hostel with nothing more than a torn backpack, a few coins, and a heart heavy with the weight of dreams not yet fulfilled. Sophie had just completed her university degree in literature and wanted to escape the humdrum routine of city life. She chose to travel across Asia on a shoestring budget, hoping to find herself in the quiet corners of mountains, beaches, and hostels filled with strangers and stories. Little did she know that this trip would rewrite her story completely. The hostel in Chiang Mai, Thailand, was nothing fancy. A small bamboo structure nestled in the hillside, with hammocks swaying gently in the breeze and the smell of fried rice drifting from the communal kitchen. Most of the travelers there were like Sophie, young, curious, and budget-conscious. She quickly made friends, sharing stories over pad thai and card games in the evening. But there was one person who always kept to himself. He arrived late one night, wearing worn-out jeans, a plain t-shirt, and carrying a single duffel bag. His name was Daniel. He barely spoke to anyone, kept his phone off most of the time, and never joined the group tours or late-night bonfire chats. Sophie, naturally curious and a writer at heart, found him intriguing. But every time she tried to talk to him, the conversation would end with a polite smile or a nod. Days passed. Sophie would see him quietly sipping coffee in the morning, reading old travel books, or hiking alone to the nearby waterfalls. There was a certain peaceful energy about him, as though he wasn't escaping life but simply at peace with it. That serenity pulled at her more than any words ever could. One evening, a storm rolled in, and everyone gathered in the common room, sharing stories to pass the time. Someone handed Daniel a guitar, insisting he join in. He hesitated for a moment, then began playing, a soft melody, haunting and beautiful. The room fell silent. When he finished, there was a long pause before the group erupted in applause. Sophie's eyes met his across the room, and for the first time, he didn't look away. That night, he sat beside her on the porch. They talked for hours, about books, childhood dreams, the weight of expectations, and the freedom of letting go. He told her his parents wanted him to take over the family business back in London, but he had chosen to see the world first. He didn't say much more, and Sophie didn't press. They began spending time together. Morning hikes, street food lunches, quiet evenings under the stars. She felt seen in a way she hadn't before, and although he still carried an air of mystery, his quiet presence became her favorite part of every day. 3 weeks passed. Then one morning, Daniel was gone. No goodbye, no note. Just gone. Sophie was crushed. She tried telling herself it was just a hostel romance, something temporary and fleeting. But it felt deeper than that. She left a few days later, the magic of her journey dimmed by the hollow space he'd left behind. Back in London 6 months later, she tried to move on. She got a job at a publishing house, rented a small flat, and wrote in her journal every night. But thoughts of Daniel haunted her. Was he real? Was any of it? One rainy afternoon, she received an email. No subject, no sender name, just a message. Meet me on the rooftop of the old Oxford Street building. Friday, 5 p.m. Her heart raced. Logic told her to ignore it. But her soul told her otherwise. When Friday came, she stood atop the gray, abandoned building in the drizzle, heart pounding. The city buzzed below, oblivious to the silent storm inside her. Then she heard it, a soft whirring sound that grew louder. She looked up, and there it was. A helicopter, descending. Her breath caught in her throat as it landed. On the far side of the rooftop. The doors opened, and out stepped Daniel, clean-shaven, dressed in a tailored suit, but with the same calm eyes that had captivated her months ago. He walked toward her, holding something small in his hand. I told you I had a family business, he said softly. What I didn't tell you is that I'm the heir to a multinational aviation company. I needed to get away and see who I was without the title. I found that person, with you. He knelt before her, in the middle of a rooftop in the rain, holding out a velvet box. Sophie gasped. Inside was a simple but stunning sapphire ring. You made me feel alive in a way I never knew was possible. Will you take a leap with me, not just in love, but in life? Tears streamed down her face as she whispered yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, and the helicopter lifted again, whisking them away above the city as the sun broke through the clouds. That night, as they soared through the sky, she realized something profound. Sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest stories. Sometimes, the most unexpected people hold the biggest surprises. And sometimes, a backpacker in a hostel isn't just a traveler, he might just be your forever. Their story became the talk of friends and family, not because of the helicopter or the ring, but because of how real it felt. Two souls, lost and wandering, collided in a faraway land, and recognized home in each other. They chose to keep things simple. No lavish wedding, just a small ceremony on a beach in Bali, with bare feet in the sand and laughter in their hearts. Sophie wore a second-hand lace dress, and Daniel wore a white linen shirt. They wrote their own vows, promising to never stop exploring, both the world and each other. They spent the first few years of their marriage traveling, creating a video journal to share love stories from around the world. Sophie wrote, Daniel filmed. They met lovers from every continent and turned their journey into a documentary that touched millions. Today, they run a foundation that supports hostel-based education programs for underprivileged youth, helping others find their own stories through travel. And every year, on the day they met, they return to that small hostel in Chiang Mai, where hammocks still sway in the breeze and the smell of pad thai fills the air. They sit on the porch, hold hands, and watch new stories begin around them. Because once upon a time, in a quiet corner of the world, a girl met a quiet boy with a secret, and learned that the loudest love stories don't always start with grand gestures, but with a shared coffee, a quiet porch, and the courage to listen with your heart.